Hello, hello, and welcome to the Giving Voice podcast. I'm your host, Matt Austin, and today we have with us not one, but two fantastic guests. We've got Miss Sarah Ezekiel and Cheddar Gorgeous with us in the studio. We're here to talk about Sarah's diagnosis of MND, her experience with speech therapy, and also the creation of Sarah's stage play, Miss MaNDy's Adventures in Wonderland. So, to kick us off, could you maybe both introduce yourselves, give us a bit more info?
Do you want me to go first while you're typing something out? I am Cheddar Gorgeous. I'm a drag queen, but also I've been working with Sarah on a project called Co-Creative Mind, which is about getting people with MND more involved in creative activity, from performance to animation, filmmaking, sound, music, so a bit of everything. So we're working with a variety of people on a number of different creative objectives.
Amazing. And also, in addition to being a drag queen, you're also an academic, I believe.
Apparently.
Right? Someone said so.
I know,
yeah.
I accidentally fell back into it. I thought I was away from it. Thought I'd escaped, but no. So I trained originally in anthropology. So this is kind of a little jaunt back into the world of academia for me.
Amazing. Thank you very much. And Sarah, how about yourself?
I'm Sarah Ezekiel, a London-based digital artist and disability advocate. I serve as co-chair of the North West London branch of the MND Association and as a patron of Lifelights, a wonderful charity that donates life-changing technology to children's hospices. I've been living with motor neurone disease for 25 years, an unusually long time, and throughout that journey, I've dedicated myself to campaigning for greater awareness of accessibility, inclusion, and assistive technology. I'm now the participant lead of the Co-Creative Mind project, funded by the Wellcome Trust until 2030.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And those are some really cool projects you're both working on with Co-Creative Mind. That sounds really cool. So, Sarah, would you mind telling us a bit more about your diagnosis of MND? You mentioned that you have it. So you've had it for 25 years, which is a massive amount of time. Would you mind going into where your diagnosis happened and how it progressed?
I was diagnosed with MND in April 2000 at just 34 years old. My daughter was 3, and I was 7 months pregnant with my son. I'd been experiencing slurred speech and weakness in my left arm, but I assumed they were simply side effects of pregnancy. When my obstetrician referred me to a neurologist, a series of tests confirmed the devastating diagnosis. In that moment, my world fell apart. My marriage soon broke down, and as my condition worsened, I became completely dependent on carers to look after both my children and me.
Thank you for opening up about that. That's really interesting. So you mentioned your slurred speech as well. So for that, I'd imagine you would have at some point seen a speech therapist, which is, spoiler alert, kind of what our podcast is about. It's about speech therapy and for speech therapists. So if you wouldn't mind me asking, when did you first see a speech therapist about your speech, and what sort of support did they give you?
I saw a speech therapist soon after my diagnosis. She told me to take my time while speaking and to explain to people that I had speech difficulties. It did help for a while.
And then did that type of support you got from the speech therapist change over time as your disease progressed?
As my speech declined quite rapidly, I was given a light writer. My hands had also deteriorated, so I couldn't use it. Funding wasn't available for assistive technology, so I was up a creek without a paddle. When the MND Association bought my first assistive technology computer in 2005, I started to live again. I later campaigned for government funding, and I'm really pleased that it's now available.
And that is how you're communicating with us today, isn't it? Through an AAC device, which is sort of recreating your voice for us to hear, and you're typing using your eyes, I believe, which is really, really cool. So could you go a little bit more into how you're communicating at the moment? I touched on it earlier, but I think it'd be great to hear in your own words how you communicate.
I'm using SmartBox eye gaze technology at the moment. An infrared camera tracks my eye movements so I can do everything online with just my eyes.
Amazing. And then we're hearing your voice based on what you type, which is really, really good. And one thing I'm sure, our listeners may have noticed is a lot of the times with AAC communication, you end up with this sort of vaguely robotic sounding voice, which can be quite, tough to use, and it might not feel like gives you a sense of self, but your voice is yours that you're using at the moment. Your story gained a lot of extra coverage when you worked with 11 Labs to use a voice banking app to recreate your voice to be used in AAC. So could you tell us a bit about that process and how that came about?
The CEO of SmartBox, Dougal Hawes, asked me if I had recordings of my voice before MND. I only had a video where I say one line with people talking in the background. I wasn't hopeful, but they did it using 11 Labs.
And it really is something. And I think with your permission, Sarah, I've got the clip that they used to recreate your voice here. So if you don't mind, we can play it very briefly. So as you say, there's it's a very short clip where you're changing a baby's nappy, I believe. Or a baby, your child's nappy. And there's lots going on in the background. And they managed to recreate your voice just from these little bits. So I'll play it for our listeners now.
Agnes, she wasn't getting enough milk and she was miserable. So I thought, I gave her a bottle one night and she was so much happier. Hey, the kitty pie.
So that was the clip there, which, as you can tell, is very messy considering there's so much going on. And I think the only bits I could pick out as a listener was you talking about, you said something like, I give her a bottle one night or something. And I think they took that right and then used that to recreate your voice, which is really cool. And they've done a pretty good job, I think, because you've got a bit of a sort of a North London kind of Cockney-esque kind of twang to your
I think
voice.
you're a little bit more of a Cockney in that video, Sarah. Did you ask them to make you a little bit posher for like the phone voice?
Well, so obviously the work with your AI voice is fantastic, and I was wondering, how has having your voice recreated by AI impact your life and also your sort of sense of identity?
Having my voice back is amazing, really. I think it's great for my kids who couldn't remember my voice at all. I'm glad I don't sound like a robot now, and even my cat listens to me.
That's the important one. If the cat listens, you know it's good. You know it's good. Amazing. And sort of talking a little bit about sense of identity, you're also an artist by trade, I believe, right? Like I've seen your Instagram, there's some amazing art on there. And you also created this fantastic play called Miss MaNDy's Adventures in Wonderland, which saw sort of a release earlier this year. So really this sort of goes out to the both of you, really, both Sarah and Cheddar. How did that play sort of come about? What was the process for creating it?
Do you want me to go with that one? So I was, I've been working now as a drag artist for probably about 15 years. And prior to that was in anthropology. And my PhD supervisor, a guy called Andrew Irving, was working with Sarah around the imagination and around the idea of somebody's internal experience and how important that was for somebody with motor neuron disease. And Andrew just contacted me one day and said, I've got this woman that I'd love you to meet. She uses eye gaze to communicate. So she has an automated voice, a synthetic voice, and she's paralyzed and she wants to become a drag queen. And so naturally I was like, great.
Get me involved.
No, absolutely. Because for me, at its very core, although we've all got an idea of what drag is, a certain kind of entertainment, but I think for me, it's quite a diverse art form. There's lots of different people doing lots of different things. And at the core of that, for me, is the ability to reveal something about yourself that you think nobody sees, and to make that the only thing that they can see when you enter a room by doing that thing and making it so over the top that they can't help but notice it. And so for somebody like Sarah, it completely made sense for me that she would want to reveal these different sides of herself, the fun side, the angry side, the sexy side. And the show really went from there. So I met Sarah, and we talked about what kind of a show she wanted to create, what kind of a format she might imagine. And then we spent some time kind of back and forth working on bits of script, and then looked at getting different performers involved, playing with music. And it sort of all just fell into place, didn't it? Have you got something to add to that? Or?
I started writing my memoir in 2005 when I got my first assistive technology computer and finished it with the help of writer Melissa Brackel during COVID. The play evolved from my memoir.
Amazing. So yeah, it all sort of spiraled out from that. And I think as well, I noticed, this wasn't my questions, but when I was reading up about it, I think you also got someone else with MND to help with the music. I think, was it Alex?
Yeah, Alex Hurd.
Yeah, which is a really great, get more creative minds in on the same project, which was really, really cool. So you said a bit about, so did you help workshop the process with Sarah, Cheddar? Yeah,
we were kind of back and forth, weren't we, Sarah? So like it would normally be us kind of arguing a little bit about ideas. And like from the outset, I kind of wanted Sarah to be involved, and Sarah was insistent that she didn't want to be on stage, that she wanted other people to perform as her. But I kind of convinced you in the end, didn't I, Sarah? So we ended up with Sarah kind of being the kind of person who intros the show and then who comes about in the finale as well, which for me I think was one of the most powerful parts of the show, because there's plenty that able-bodied performers can do to convey something about Sarah's experience, but there's certain things about Sarah's experience that only Sarah can convey and only Sarah's body can convey. And so for me that was quite an important part of it. But it was just sort of a back and forth, really, wasn't it? Us arguing over, because you wanted everything to be very light and very fun, and I totally respected that, and I completely understand why, whereas I suppose I was kind of trying to pull a little bit more of some of the kind of the deeper stuff in, because I like a show that kind of has an ebb and a flow and goes up and down and takes the audience in different directions. But like you say, it came from all of your experiences, and I think it came from how honest you were about certain aspects of your experiences, because I don't think we often hear disabled people talking about disability. And we don't hear disabled people talking about other parts of their lives and other aspects of their experience that are incredibly relatable. And for me, that was one of the special things about the show, is that while some of the story was about disability, a lot of the story was about things that were really relatable, like anger at her ex-husband or the crush that she had on her doctor, and all of those things for me were what made it special, and what made kind of drag us quite a useful vehicle for it, because you lure people into thinking it's going to be just something light and fun and frothy, and you end up with something actually that makes you question your own understanding of the people that you're looking at.
Definitely. I think that's a really good point you make, because I was lucky enough that Sarah sent me a link to watch the show before interviewing her, and I think what stood out to me was definitely how the ebb and flow, as you say, there's moments of complete levity which made me burst out laughing. And there's also other bits that are quite starkly real and very almost blunt in their sort of in the way they put things across about, you know, your experiences. So yeah, I think that came across really well, and the creative tensions that may have been there when writing the script.
Not tensions. Oh, we got on well, didn't we? Didn't we? Oh, she give me a look.
Yeah. You say so. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it went. I mean, I think that it was. I often think that I feel like I'm the luckiest artist in the world. Like, you know, I get to this is my day job now, so I'm working back within academia, and to be able to work with people who have a story to tell, and I can be useful in telling it. I mean, it's just such a wonderful, privileged thing to be paid for. You know. Yeah,
definitely.
It's great.
So Sarah, Cheddar said that you included various things about your life in the play, like, you know, your crush on your doctor, or, you know, breaking up with your ex-husband. And I think that was a bit where you killed him in a various manner of ways, which was very fun. Creatively, not literally. We do have to specify that. Whenever we talk about this project, like, Sarah goes, well, there's the bit that I killed my husband, and I do have to always go, that was a theatrical murder. It wasn't in any way a reflection of reality. But my question running from that was, how did you choose which bits to include and which bits to leave out when it came to writing the actual play?
We chose the fun bits, like killing my ex-husband and the crush on my hospice doctor. We had to include the serious MND stuff too. It worked out very well in the end. We made people laugh and cry.
And I'm testament to that, I think, because I was guffawing with laughter and, yeah, really reveling in the, not reveling, but feeling the more serious moments too. And as Cheddar said earlier, you actually got on stage, Sarah, and were like all dressed up for the moment, and like there was a costume change as well at the end. It was fantastic. Like, how was that experience, getting on stage and being glammed up? And, you know, and who did your makeup? Because it looked fantastic.
It was great fun, even though I didn't want to be in it originally. We had professional drag makeup artists.
Well, yeah, I can imagine it's pretty scary getting off on stage. I don't know if I could do it. So props to you, you know. So going back to the actual creation of the play, were there any challenges as part of making the play, and if so, what bits?
Coordinating all the fabulous busy queens was both challenging and nerve-wracking, but they were absolutely incredible. and everything came together beautifully in the end, all thanks to them. I couldn't have done it without Cheddar, who handled the tech side, helped shape the script, and supported me with just about everything.
You're welcome, Sarah. No, you're too sweet. I was cracking a whip, really. Herding cats was probably what it was like. But you know what I think was interesting for me was all of the challenges that you might talk about are very revealing about a certain level of ableism that exists in creative processes, whether that be in industries, whether that be in the technology that we use, whether that be in the way that we rehearse. So the challenges we had were things like ensuring we had time to make sure that Sarah could give feedback. Because when you're doing a show, it's all very fast. It's all very, very fast. And you're in a room with people and you have to do this and do that and do that and get on stage and bam, 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 bam. And actually being able to slow that process down, it reveals some of those issues with the way that we do shows. There was one of my favourite moments in the first show that we did. It was the first one, wasn't it? The Shaw Theatre, wasn't it? Was it? Yeah, it was the Shaw Theatre. There was this moment where we were backstage and another performer with us, Dex, was doing these really fantastic monologues. They were out on stage. Sarah's laughing her head off because she knows what's coming. So Dex is out on stage and doing this monologue, and Sarah's makeup, for the moment when Sarah comes back out, because Sarah was on for like the last 3 songs or something, Sarah's makeup wasn't done in that kind of moment where Dex is coming up to the end of his monologue. And now in the world of theatre, that is like shocking, the idea that you would have somebody not ready to go on stage. But obviously there's a different set of challenges and a different set of provisions that have to be made. And in a drag show, you can actually get away with quite a lot, because a lot of it is about breaking up that real clear distinction between the audience and the performer. So the stage manager, who was wonderful and lovely and doing their job, rushed into the back room. They were like, we've got to go. And I just went, we don't have to go. We don't have to go. It's okay. And the stage manager completely got it. And they were like, you're right. We don't need to go. But Dex was left on stage with this really beautiful, awkward silence. And they were stood on a table. This grand stood on a table. And they were like kind of saying, Sarah, come and tell us what you think. And they just kept repeating this line over and over again, which was hilarious. And also, I mean, it's the kind of thing that if we could have thought of it, I'd have asked for us to put it in the show, because knowing that we work on a different time scale, that we work on the time scale of the people involved, and it's all right. Like the audience loved it. It worked for Dex as a performer. It gave this awkward, wonderful moment that they got to be part of. It worked for everyone. So challenges are just opportunities to reveal something interesting.
I think that's a really good way of thinking about it, because, like, as you say, you found a challenge in that Sarah wasn't ready for her makeup, but you made it work within the sort of comedic context of the play.
It was great.
And yeah, I mean, it sounds really funny.
Dex maybe didn't find it great at the time, but I think afterwards they enjoyed the fact that they got like an extra 3 minutes on stage, just standing there elegantly.
A bit more time in the limelight, definitely. So we sort of heard a bit about it from Cheddar already, but I was wondering, Sarah, what made you choose drag as a medium to present your play?
I always joke that it's because I couldn't get my story on Netflix. I met Cheddar and it just evolved after we met.
I was the backup plan.
Yeah, second choice.
Yeah, I was the backup plan, and that drag always is a backup plan. I think there are so many performers who can relate to that. And if you can excel at the backup plan and do something special, which I think is what we did.
And having seen it, I do think it works so well as a medium for the play, because Sarah's life is so colourful. It makes sense.
Yeah, and if you think of the tropes that kind of end up being in drag. Disconnection from voice and performer. Like lip sync is really big in drag. Not all drag queens lip sync, and not all drag kings lip sync. Some of them sing, some of them do dance, some of them do all sorts of things. But that disconnection between the fantasy that you're embracing and the body that you're seeing, and that kind of interplay between the use of different technologies to make different kinds of fantasy happen. It works really, really well. And drag is very much a place that likes to celebrate bodies that are different. And So for me, it just made a lot of sense.
So I understand there's been 2 showings of the play so far. Is that right? Is there a plan for any more, or is it sort of a limited run type thing?
We are going to perform one scene on 29th November at the Manchester MND Association branch ball. I found it really tiring, so we won't repeat the full show again. We have other exciting projects in the pipeline, though.
Amazing. And I'll ask about those later, so we do our questions in order, but I can't wait to hear about it. But it's really cool you're doing another scene. And like, I was wondering as well, because there's a version online that I've watched. Was that a sort of special just for me at the Giving Voice podcast, or will that be available for other people?
We've got it, haven't we? We've got it. We do have we've got recordings from different angles, and so there may be a potential of making something of it.
Nice.
But we'll see. You know, and I think it's another one of those things about taking time and deciding what's a cool thing to do next. And so I know Sarah has a couple of ideas for different sorts of shows, because drag is very physically demanding for everyone involved. You know, the costume is a lot, the makeup is a lot, and I think that there are other forms that maybe Sarah wants to play with next. And also Sarah's just been and is working incredibly hard now for the project. So Sarah's been kind of the backbone of much of our recruitment, and kind of each new participant we have, kind of welcoming them to the project. And so Sarah's busy, is what I keep telling her.
Nice.
The diva is busy at the moment, but I think you do have a little desire still, I think, to get on stage. That's what I hope anyway. No, shaking her head at me here. I think that there's a little diva in there that still wants to have another day out.
Well, I mean, there's one more scene being reenacted from the play, so who knows? Maybe one more chance to get on stage.
Yeah, she roped me into that one. I think I'll probably be the only one in makeup for that, won't I, Sarah? I suspect that you want to be in makeup again? We'll see.
We'll see. Nice. So I sort of read as well the Miss MaNDy's Adventures in Wonderland was, I think, part of the Wellcome Trust. Is that right?
So it predates our current project, but it was the inspiration for the current Co-Creative Mind project that's funded by the Wellcome Trust with Manchester University. I feel like I was doing like a branding chat then. The current project that's funded by the Wellcome Trust in association with the University of Manchester. So the Miss MaNDy's Adventures in Wonderland was part of the exploration work that we were doing to see whether a project like that could work. And I think we proved that it could. So that's good. Hence we've got the project moving forward, which is for 5 years.
Oh, wow.
So we're going to be spending the next 5 years doing lots of different projects.
Nice. So I sort of wanted to talk a bit now about maybe the role of art in people with diseases and people with MND and things like that. So I was going to ask, like, how has the work with the Wellcome Trust and with Miss MaNDy's Adventures in Wonderland sort of helped you shape your idea of how those with MND can engage with art and its benefits?
For me, art has always been about escapism. When I'm working on something, I forget about everything else and just concentrate on what I'm doing. I know that it can help people with MND forget about their problems and this awful disease. That can only be a good thing.
Definitely, yeah, for sure.
From what I've seen, and so in the kind of the world of disability, there's a lot of support available, but a lot of that support emphasizes regular communication, regular movement, and I think creativity and a need to express yourself and tell your story is often something that's a little bit neglected. Yet actually for human beings, I think it can be an incredibly important part of how we find meaning in our lives. There's such an emphasis on ensuring somebody can get from A to B or make an easy communicative request, which is important. I wouldn't ever deny that stuff is also really, really important. But how you can convey aspects of your emotional world, of your desires, of your fantasies, of your imagination, of the things that you think are significant about your life and your experience in this world, that stuff, and for me as an artist, and as a performer, that stuff has given me so much. And I think for people with MND, it's even more imperative, right? Because there's much of this world that is hard to engage with, that at least if you can engage with that idea of something meaningful beyond your everyday life, that's something. I think it's a powerful something as well. Probably not articulating myself very well there.
Yeah. No, that was fantastic. Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's very, very important. So I was wondering, I wanted to talk, Sarah, a bit about your art. So you have an Instagram, you make this fantastic art that's on there all the time. I think from what I've read online, because I did a bit of research, you've always been interested in art and things like that. So I was wondering, how has your relationship with art changed since your diagnosis of MND?
From using my hands to paint and draw before MND, I started using art software and eye gaze. It was very tiring and painstaking. Now I use Midjourney to create the controversial artificial intelligence.
And that leads quite nicely on to my next question.
Dum.
I know, it's very... Uh-oh. Well, that does lead on to my next question quite well, because obviously the use of AI in art is a very controversial topic, with a lot of people decrying it and saying, oh, it shouldn't be done, it shouldn't be used, it's very evil, all of that. And I think as someone that, uses it to express themselves, and it's a form of, helping you get to grips with and portray your emotions, what was your perspective on that, on the use of AI in art?
I don't see a problem with AI art. It's simply another creative tool, not a replacement for real art or artists. Every form of technology throughout history has opened up new possibilities for expression, and AI is no different. For me, it's an exciting way to explore ideas, experiment with styles, and push creative boundaries. Art is about imagination and intention, and as long as those come from the artist, any medium, including AI, can be a powerful force for creativity.
Thank you for that response. That's a really good thing to hear, because I think your perspective on that is so valuable as someone that uses it in place of other things. I think it's really good to have that voice in amongst everything else. Did you have anything to add?
Yeah,
Cheddar?
I think I would be a lot more cynical about AI had it not been for working on this project. And it makes me realize we have this obsession with being a yes or no, AI yes or no. And I think that really stops us from asking, well, how should it be used? The genie is out of the bottle. AI is here to stay. And I'm speaking as I was a professional artist. I'm working in academia now, but I've been a professional artist for a long time. My images are out there in the world, and they are being, what do they call it? Scraped, data scraped, so my image is part of that. And so I understand our fears and concerns, but let's be honest, the dynamic that we currently have that people fear with AI is nothing new. It was here before AI. Artists classically are having their work stolen. Artists classically have never been paid well. There are other questions we should be addressing rather than fixating solely upon this new piece of technology, which is the way creativity and creative people are valued in our world. And that, if we look at the current situation, art's the first thing to go. Art's the first thing to be thrown out of the window. And while there are risks that AI makes it easier, I just don't think it's going to be, I don't think that this stuff that AI is doing is the stuff that we should be worrying about with AI, because I think AI is doing tons more that is not visible, that is drastically impacting people's lives, and we don't even appreciate that that's because of the influence of artificial intelligence. And I'm thinking about the way kind of certain types of AI algorithms are shaping our social worlds, and the way that it's impacting our financial markets, and the way that perhaps the defense industry is now making applications of AI. And so I think I understand the ethical concerns around AI, but I think in some ways that the specific concern around creativity, while we can absolutely try and find new ways to make the use of AI in art more ethical and more fair to artists in our society, that's a bigger concern about the place that art has in our world, and the way that artists aren't valued. And there's a ton of other stuff going on with AI that maybe we should be thinking about a little bit more.
That's a very good response. I have nothing to add to that. That was very, very complete. So So we're reaching the end of our interview now, so I did want to ask if there's sort of either of you really, if there are any sort of upcoming projects that you're working on that you would like to sort of tell us about, or maybe sort of say that you're working on.
It's going to be an ongoing process. I think like we're very lucky. We're on the project for the next 5 years, so that is going to be the center of everything. We've got no new shows or new performances put in at the moment, but watch this space,
right? Well,
because we got plans. We got plans, but nothing we want to reveal just yet.
I look forward to it with bated breath. But where can we sort of find you to hear about these plans? Do you have any social media you want to plug or anything?
We
like
don't, but we will have, won't we? Should we make it? When's this going out?
It's probably not for a while.
Perfect.
The curtains are being lifted now. I'm like
perfect. Just search for us on your social medias. Co-Creative Mind.
Yeah, and if you do have anything to send it to me, and I'll pop it in the description of this podcast.
Yeah, we will. That's on one of my big lists is to start a social media account. You want to talk about problems in our world? Let's talk about social media.
I know, yeah, we're just talking about how bad AI is for social media and stuff, and straight to give me your socials.
Serious?
I know.
No, it's all right. It is the cage that we are caught within.
It is forever entwined with our social persona. But yeah, that does sort of bring me to the end of our questions. So I do have sort of an end segment that I like to sort of end with, to end things on a light note, a sort of fun note. So I always get, I know, it's very cliche of me, I always get our guests to sort of recommend me something, or recommend the listeners something that you think they should check out. So it can be anything. It could be like a good film you've seen recently, or it could be like a funny catchphrase you heard like in a book or something, like whatever you fancy. So this is your time to shine. What would you like to recommend to our listeners? Sarah, shall we hear from you first?
I've just started reading The Vagina Monologues, recommended by my friend here today. Cheddar is excited about doing something called the MND Monologues, so I'll find out more as I read on.
And that's because a lot of the women that we're starting to work with, they talk about their lives very frankly, very openly, and the issues that they bring up are just things that I think are so relatable to so many women. I'm not a woman, but I imagine that these are things that are incredibly relatable for other women, regardless of whether they've got motor neuron disease or not. And so it's just a little something we're playing around with, isn't it, of the idea of allowing an easy way that women could do their own monologues and convey something a little bit about their experience. What should I recommend? Oh my God.
I'll put you on the spot now.
No, there's only like one thing, and it's so lame. It's not lame, it's brilliant, but it's definitely not on topic. Like, it's completely unrelated to anything we've been talking about.
This is the point of this segment. It's just anything.
I love that. So I've been listening to an audio book series called Dungeon Crawler Carl, and I'm obsessed. It is so much fun. It's about a man who finds himself, after an apocalyptic event, sucked into a fabricated dungeon world in which he has to fight for his life, whilst what would you call it? Whilst like a kind of authoritarian regime puts their plight out there as a form of entertainment. So it's a little bit like our everyday lives, isn't it, in many respects?
Yeah, sort of.
But it's very funny.
I mean, it does sound fantastic.
It's very funny. There's a talking cat.
I'm sold. Get me there straight away. But I'll try and link to those in the description if I can. So the Vagina Monologues and Dungeon Crawler Carl. Complete.
There's 7 books.
Oh my, 7.
7 books.
There's more of Dungeon Crawler Carl than the Vagina Monologues?
Right, there's more of Dungeon Crawler Carl than my own book I'm supposed to be writing.
But anyway, I think we'll call it a day there unless anyone has anything to add. I'll let you finish, Sarah, and then we'll finish up.
I kept dreaming I was a survivor in an apocalypse last night.
Oh, really? I have those dreams all of the time. All of the time. And it's always sometimes I'll have different apocalypses, different kinds of ones. Maybe it's just the nature of our news cycle at the moment. What kind of apocalypse was it? Because I'm a bit of an aficionado when it comes to apocalyptic thinking.
Really?
Oh yeah, I love an apocalyptic thinking.
Because I will say, I too often dream about the apocalypse. Yeah. It's a fun thing to think about. I'm a go-to for a zombie apocalypse. That's
are you? Yeah,
that's my premium headspace that I sort of end up in.
Love that. You're never going to be up to type with your eyes if you keep laughing.
It was a pizza apocalypse. I was being killed by enormous pizzas.
I mean, that sounds fantastic to me. I love a pizza.
Doesn't sound too bad. Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
If there's a way to go, it's knee deep in cheese and pepperoni. As far as I'm concerned.
Pizza. Oh God.
Man.
Well, you asked.
I did ask. I've only myself to blame, to be fair. You know what? This is staying in. I'm keeping it in.
Great.
Pizza Apocalypse has to go in the podcast for sure. But I guess we'll tie things up there with the Pizza Apocalypse. Thank you both so much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast. And with that, I've been Matt Austin with Sarah Ezekiel and Cheddar Gorgeous, and you've been listening to the Giving Voice podcast. Thank you very much.